This show is brought to you by our friends at bayphoto.com. Head over after the show to print something amazing. Be sure to check out their specials at bayphoto.com/specials.
Okay, well, why don't we dive in to looking at some of your guys' stuff, right, Jared?
And our first photo is from our good friend, Christopher Scott, Carpenter. We've reviewed many of his excellent photos, and this one is of an older order Amish, two boys from an Amish order in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania.
Christopher, that is just a brilliant photograph. Just absolutely brilliant. I love it. When I've said this to you guys before, but when you really know you've got a good photograph you're looking at because you wish you had captured it yourself. I mean, everything about this is really a perfect photograph. The little boy in the foreground just looking right at the camera. Yeah, his red hair, the boots. You haven't cut anything off there, which is good. And the brother, I'm assuming, or the other boy in front of him pulling the wagon. The leading line there, yeah, with the trail. Absolutely perfect. And then it's like you appear to be in the golden hour. You've got a really nice warm glow here. So bravo. There's just 100% on that one. Very, very cool photograph, Christopher. You definitely got to utilize that somewhere in a book or obviously, print it. And wonderful. I love the cart too. It's just time. That's something that Chris Burkhardt mentioned is you want to kind of aim for photographs that are timeless. They don't have anything stamped on them that says 2022. This could be 100 years ago, right? And it does do something when you find an image or a scene like this that's just floating in time. When is that? 1930? Is it 1980? There's nothing in there that really pegs it in time. So that's another big bonus that you have there.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And that's kind of the theme for today is a lot of good photos. You guys have a lot of excellent photos that you've submitted. All right, here's our next one. This one is from Mike in Arizona. Here it is. Tinkering with some things. It's a composite with the moon added in the background to make the jumping youngster stand out.
Well, you're having fun with Photoshop here, and I'm assuming the composite is not just the moon, but it's also the jumping, just based on the relationship to the rock and the height and so forth. It's a very interesting photograph. I mean, I myself am not a composite photographer. I'm kind of old school, but I appreciate it as an art form, and that's interesting. My only thought, okay, just for what it's worth, I would probably get that moon to be much smaller. Just because then it becomes, oh, was that really happened or not? But obviously being that large, we know immediately it's a composite. So that would be my flow on it. I'd probably try to, make it appear as though it was an actual photograph. So Mike says the jumping is real. That's kind of amazing.
And good timing on your part.
I mean, that's a dangerous jump. That's why I didn't think it was real, but that's pretty cool. And because really, look at where those feet are going to land, and the angle. That's the coolest part of it is that, the angle, the Michael Jordan jump there. Basically, that's
the diagonal lines.
The diagonal lines. That's pretty cool. Okay, very interesting. Yeah.
All right. Our next one, this is from Sarah. Walking through an ancient woodland at the start of autumn in the Isle of Wight in the UK.
Nice. Now, it's fascinating how this. I'm just looking at the form at the bottom. It almost looks like it's a reflection.
Mhm.
What are we looking at there? I'm just sort of fascinated because it goes into. Oh, I see. It looked like a window or a reflection, but I mean, I know it's not. It's just kind of
Yeah,
interesting how it's sort
I
of a
think
three. Yeah, this sort of
it's
looks
that
like a
framing.
bubble-ish kind of thing. But that's really cool. That's a cool, landscape, and you photographed it, in portrait mode. And I've made this point: portrait and landscape mean nothing. Those terms mean nothing because you can take an environmental portrait that's landscape mode, and you can take a landscape that's in portrait mode. It's just really what's going to work for that image. And because everything is going very vertically here, on the right side, and then on the left side you've got those diagonal lines of the branches. That's pretty cool. Very, very, very interesting. The punctuation point for me in this one is the two tree limbs at the bottom. Yeah, there.
These.
Because that gives your eye something to go to. Yeah. Those
Mhm.
to me form a punctuation point. So, very interesting photograph.
Which goes to show you can have a very subtle punctuation point because
Yeah,
it does draw
exactly.
the eye, but it is very subtle.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, sticking to a bit of a tree focus, we've got
Uh-huh.
this beautiful photo. This is from Yoshodo, an infrared photo of a famous ginkgo tree in Japan.
Interesting. I have never used infrared photography, but one of the presenters at the Optic West, which was the B&H convention that we had here, we had over 1,000 people. It was amazing. They were so happy with it. It's the only time they've done an event outside of New York City, and it was a huge success for them. But one of the presenters is France Lanting, is an amazing photographer, and he used infrared photography to capture some um, bobcats.
Mm.
It was interesting. I never thought of doing that. I just had never really thought of a use for infrared photography, but it does produce an unusual image like you have here. Be, I need to actually try it out, and I'm not even sure. I'm so ignorant. I don't even know how to do it. So I'll have to look up some kind of tutorial and figure out how do you shoot an infrared photograph. But anyway, that's an interesting angle on something that's probably been photographed a lot.
Mhm.
And that's always our biggest challenge when you go somewhere and that particular thing has been photographed a lot. What do you do to make it different? Well, that's what you've done here. I love the dark sky. That's that kind of, yeah, uh, moody look. And that's the Ansel Adams type of thing that he did all the time. He tried to make the sky as dark as possible. He used a red filter for that purpose. And it's obviously different than infrared, but he used a filter to darken the sky. So, very interesting. Please subscribe and enable the bell so you don't miss any of our new shows. Like the video and please share it and leave your comments. I love hearing from you. And remember to get out and capture your own images of life.